Well, when the Calgary Flames returned from the Olympic break, they had 5 games to play between then and the trade deadline. And now those 5 games are complete. Only a few hours remain, about 15 or 16, until the final buzzer sounds. But tonight, the final buzzer sounded at the Saddledome after a 4-1 setback for the Calgary Flames at the hands of the Ottawa Senators, which pushed the Calgary Flames into 31st place in the National Hockey League. Mike Gould and Robert Munnich, Bobby Germany himself, with you on today's edition of Afterburner, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. And we also like to tell you about the Super Chat, but right now it doesn't feel like we even need to tell you about the Super Chat. You're getting in the Super Chats before we even go live. Proceeds from them go to the youth centers of Calgary. It's a place where kids are welcomed and accepted as they are, where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is the reality for many of their lives, and where they can flourish through connections and fun. And I will say our number one super chatter, I would think over the last few weeks, has been Arby himself. And we'll get right to it off the hop. $13.99. Uyghur's goodbye letter brings a tear to the glass eye. Just 4 losing seasons after worst trade in a decade, and writes a letter like he was a career Flame. More effort to improve his plus minus and less social media. And with that, I think we can put an end to the Mackenzie Uyghur super chats, but keep the rest of them coming. Bobby, a 4-1 loss for the Calgary Flames to the Ottawa Senators on trade deadline eve. Your overall thoughts on today's game, and did this one bring a tear to your glass eye?
Yuck. Yuck is all I got to say. That was just a putrid performance by the Flames. Thank God the trade deadline is tomorrow and that you and I could talk about something other than this hockey game tonight, because really Devin Cooley, from a Flames perspective, Devin Cooley is the only redeeming storyline from the entire night. He was outstanding. If it wasn't for him, that game could have easily been 5-6-1, even without the empty netters. Devin Cooley was that good tonight. Aside from him, I thought it was a rough night from basically every single member of the Calgary Flames. And, you know, between now and the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of games like this, and it's going to be pretty rough to watch, but they're rebuilding. So that's all that matters, right?
The Calgary Flames are rebuilding. They made that very clear with their Mackenzie Uyghur trade with the Utah Mammoth yesterday. And now, as we mentioned, if you're looking at this from a team tank standpoint, tonight went about as perfectly as it possibly could have. The New York Rangers smoking the Toronto Maple Leafs by a 6-2 final score. I guess they saw that and had to trade Sam Carrick to Buffalo after that one. And the Winnipeg Jets beating the Tampa Bay Lightning by a 4-1 final score. File that under things we didn't necessarily see coming. Morgan Barron, Mark Scheifele, Gustav Nyquist, his first of the season in today's game for the Winnipeg Jets. Did you know that Gustav Nyquist now has 1 goal this season, Robert? And the Winnipeg Jets beating the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1, allowing the Buffalo Sabres to move into a tie for first place in the Atlantic. It was a crazy night in the out-of-town, and the Flames put a bow on it with a 4-1 loss.
Crazy thing about Nyquist, too, is a couple years ago, I think he had right around a 70
guy.
And he's just completely fallen off a cliff this year. Like I've watched the Jets a couple times, and he's just been totally useless this year. I can't believe it, but hey, good news for the Flames.
Absolutely. It really is. You know, we're looking at this now. The Flames, 55 points in 61 games. They fall below the St. Louis Blues by virtue of a tiebreaker. The Blues were inactive tonight. They have won back-to-back games. They have 55 points in 61 games as well. Blues have one fewer win than the Flames this year, but 2 more regulation wins. So they are ahead of the Flames in the standings. And then the Rangers, 1 point up. The Blackhawks, 1 point up. The Jets now 5 points up. The Jets are 2 points back of the Jets are 2 points back of the LA Kings now in the Western Conference standings, although the Kings are about to beat the New York Islanders. But still, and here's the other thing. Vancouver, Calgary, St. Louis, New York, Chicago, Winnipeg. These are all the teams that we've sort of lumped into the bottom portion of the standings. They are all now tied in games played, 61 each.
Interesting.
So there we go. As we move forward here, the Calgary Flames, they lose to the Ottawa Senators tonight. And Bobby, they scored the opening goal in this game. They sure did, didn't they? And talk about breaking long droughts. Tonight was sort of a day of it, as it was Marty Pospisil who gets this.
He had a quiet night outside of this shift, but the one shift where he really stepped up and showed that creativity. It led to a goal, which is great. So all the credit to Matvei Gridin out there. And yeah, good for Marty Pospisil. It's been a rough year for the guy. I'm happy to see him finally score a goal here.
Gotta love Marty. Gotta love the Marty party. I mean, I think this little alternation with John Beecher has actually been good for both of them. I think Beecher's been playing some of his best hockey as a Flame, and Marty is starting to get his sea legs back. Also, funny to note, you'll remember back in December when we did our little charity drive, I kept making note of how Sharangovich kept having assists taken away from him. It happened all the time. Tonight, he got maybe the chintziest one of his career, but you know what? You take them wherever they come. And Matvei Gridin getting assist number 4 on the season. So Pospisil from Gridin and Sharangovich. That is the only scoring play of this game for the Calgary Flames.
Might have been the only scoring chance.
Yeah, it was not great. It was really not a great night for the Calgary Flames, who get outshot 37-20 by the Ottawa Senators in this one. And you want to talk about long droughts. So here's something funny. The Calgary Flames and Ottawa Senators last played against each other on October the 30th. That was in Ottawa at the CTC in Canada, I guess. And that was also the last time that Lars Eller had scored a goal before tonight. Lars Eller had gone months upon months without scoring. He scored 2 goals in two goals in the month of October, 0 in November, 0 in December, 0 in January, 0 in February. And now here he is, the resurgent Danish Olympian, getting a pretty nice goal off the back of some plays by Fabian Zetterlund and Ridley.
Stopping that shot. But Flames fans, we got to become like the biggest Lars Eller supporters out there. Guy only shows up when he plays against Calgary. It's perfect for the tank.
Lars Eller has been around the block a lot. He's played in 1,162 games in his career. He's also 36 years old, going on 37 this May. Might be the last go-around. So there you go. Lars Eller getting his 3rd of the year. That score would hold into the intermission. And then in the 3rd period, it was Dylan Cousins, the Buffalo Sabre turned Ottawa Senator from last season, from Whitehorse up in the Yukon. Hey, there's a good spot for a player to come from. Isn't that right, Bobby? Getting his 22nd goal of the year. Brady Tkachuk setting this one.
Totally bizarre from him, because normally he's normally in position. He's a really good defensive player and a good penalty killer, but I don't know what the hell happened on that play. And the Flames, it was a weak board battle too. Like Sharangovich could have easily won that battle. He got to that puck first, nothing happened, and then Tkachuk finds it, and Dylan Cousins is all alone. I think Cousins, he's got like over 20 goals this year, 48
22
points. He's having a nice season, and when he's all alone in the slot, he's probably going to beat goalies more often than not. So, but once again, it's a good thing. Good thing for the tank.
I will say Kevin Ball, one of only 2 Flames players above 40% in expected goals at 5-on-5 tonight. Funny that Alexander Holtz was on waivers today, not even 2 years after the controversy in that summer of 2024 that the Flames did not get that player from New Jersey. Now they can get him for free if they really, really want to. I don't expect they want to. This is one thing that I should mention, though, as it is 9:58 local time here in Calgary, which means that it's just 2 minutes shy of midnight out east. And this means that in 2 minutes, the NHL's roster limit will be lifted. And I am expecting, and a lot of people are expecting, to see some deals become official or to be announced or to leak for the first time right after that happens. And we'll be live when that does happen. So keep an eye out, because the roster limits, they can be a bit of a hassle. Teams want to have extra depth guys. I would imagine that's what's holding up the confirmation on a deal that is being rumored right now, which is the Jets trading Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn to Buffalo. And I would imagine there might be some similar deals that come to fruition after that midnight clock strikes out east. So just worth keeping note of as we continue the show here. And if anything does break, we will have stuff live for you here this evening. Not the first time that we have broken stuff or had stuff broken while we're live on a post-game show. If you'll remember the Farabee and Frost deal from a little over a year ago. And then this game ended with a couple empty netters, but we should say a little bit more about Devin Cooley. We have a compilation of some of his greatest hits from tonight. Cooley's save percentage just keeps going up and up and up. He entered this game at 922. He is now at 923. He is 7-6-4 through 22 games this season. I mean, Bobby, he has been a revelation for the Calgary Flames, even when he hasn't been able to get the 2 points.
Another stat of expected in general, and I believe this is his 18th start of the season. This is insane.
Yeah.
How do you, like I mentioned tonight, this game easily would have been 4 or 5-1 had he not been super sharp. So I just think it's spectacular. And he seems like a great dude. I love watching his post-game interviews. Seems like he's got a great personality. So couldn't happen to a better guy. But yeah, this is pretty crazy.
It is the best single season backup goaltending performance that I can remember with the Flames. I mean, trying to even think of competitors to that mantle. You'd have to
better than Vesitoskala.
Well,
2009.
That wasn't really much of a single season, more like a single week. I think, who are even the contenders? Like, we're talking not even Noodles. like this is wild. Like this is I can't even think. Like, it's like
the issue is that the Flames have had a lot of 1A, 1B situations. They haven't really had a ton of true backups recently. I mean,
well, and all of Mika's guys were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part. I mean, they had their moments. I mean, Noodles was the best of them, but like, you're talking, pardon me, you're like almost talking Chad Johnson, but like, he only had really a good month. It wasn't that consistent. It's definitely
probably Dan Vladar.
And even Vladar
behind Jacob Markstrom, but
Vladar never had a season. Vladar never had a season above 900 in Calgary.
I thought he was in 21-22, but the team
don't think so. Maybe he was. You might have been right. But yeah, that was he was at 906, and then after that, 895, 882, 898. Yeah, I mean, Pinder in the chat's talking about Chad Johnson. I think, Rye, if you go back and look at the game log, basically after Jan 1 that year, it wasn't the same. It was not the same. And in fact, the goaltending performance that got the Flames to the playoffs that year was Brian Elliott.
And then won that 10-game win streak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, and people in the chat talking McElhaney, Turek. I mean, we're really getting down there. Like, it's definitely not McElhaney. I will say that.
It's
definitely
not Turek.
Not. And it's probably not Turek either. I mean, Turek's best year with the Flames was as a starter, and it was really for like 6 weeks before he signed his extension. So this
is unprecedented. It really is in this organization.
Yeah, Flames don't typically have good backups. Usually when they have a good backup, that backup becomes the starter. Like it's sort of like a Kari Ramo or a David Riddick situation where it's a guy who's penciled in as the number 2, sort of becomes the number 1, but yeah, no, it's wild. And I mean, here's the other point of it is that Cooley's not even playing for a contract anymore. He already has his extension. He's still playing this well. That's what we've seen with a lot of these guys is they fell off once they re-signed. And Cooley's got 2 years left out, or 2 years more after this one now. And he's still playing just as well.
What if a team throws a 2nd-round pick at Craig Conroy for Cooley? Is that something you'd consider?
I don't think they would. I don't think they would. I was meaning that as in I don't think other teams would, but I also don't know if the Flames would. Like, I don't know.
What about you? Like, what if you were in charge? Is Cooley somebody that you'd look to possibly get rid of and take advantage of this hot streak he's on?
Sure. Like, I wouldn't be all that attached to a lot of the guys on this team. But you also need a little bit of stability, in a certain sense. I don't know. Like, it's an interesting question. And I feel there are certain guys right now who, with the Flames, I feel like they could probably liquidate them for pieces. I feel like they could, if they so desired. And I don't know if they will. Like, Zach Whitecloud's a prime example. I don't know if Whitecloud's value has ever been higher than it is right this second, and yet I don't think they're going to move him. And quite frankly, I don't know if they need to move him. I think they will move him eventually. I even feel sort of the same about Nazem Kadri to a certain extent, although I think there's a certain element of disgruntledness that will come in to affect with Kadri if he's still on the Flames tomorrow after 1. Whereas with Whitecloud, that doesn't exist. And with Cooley, that doesn't really exist at all, I don't think.
No.
So I think there's more to lose. Let me put it a different way. I don't think there's as much to gain by doing it now. Like, I don't think you're sacrificing. I don't think there's a huge opportunity cost. I think with the Flames, the biggest opportunity costs of this deadline are not trading Coleman, and not trading Lomberg pretty much, because he's a UFA, and that's pretty much it. I don't know if I mean, as much as we can talk about how much Kadri might turn a little sour if he doesn't get traded, I don't think there's a huge gulf as far as what his perceived value will be now versus 12 months from now. I personally don't. I think as long as he continues to play this way. I think he will remain largely as productive. In fact, I think there's a chance he might become more productive next season a little bit with just natural regression at play, because the Flames the lowest scoring team in the league. And with a little bit more puck luck, I could actually see him scoring more next year. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, though.
I mean, yeah, going back to Cooley, it really all just kind of depends on, do you think he's going to be able to keep up this level of play here? Because if you don't, then this will be the highest value he'll ever have. He makes less than $1 million right now, leads the league in save percentage, goal save above expected, all that stuff we just talked about. His value probably will never be higher than it is right now. But if you think Cooley's actually going to be able to maintain this and keep this kind of level of play up, then trading him maybe as a pending UFA when his contract expires, when he's shown that he's established, he's shown that there's a track record, there actually could be a pretty significant value tied to him. And I look at that 2028 trade deadline, and you're going to have Zach Whitecloud pending UFA. You'll have Devin Cooley as a pending UFA. You'll have Oli Mata as a pending UFA, as well as Joel Farabee. So there's some really interesting pieces there to trade at that time. And then you can load up on picks in 2028 because you've already loaded up on 26 and 27 already. So I don't know, just kind of something interesting to think about. And then when it comes to Nazem Kadri, yeah, there's all this talk about how he's the most competitive player to ever play in the NHL. The Flames media, they really push that narrative. And don't get me wrong, Kadri's competitive. He's a very competitive player, but I don't think it's to the point where it's like this guy's going to die for a win or a loss, So when it comes to him and playing in meaningless hockey games, I wonder if he's just going to check out. I do wonder that, because he did check out at the end of the 2022-23 season when him and Daryl weren't getting along. You could tell that he was done with that year. He got leveled by Trouba that one night in New York. And from that point on, it just seemed like he was kind of done with that season. And I wonder if we're going to kind of see something maybe a little bit similar here. And that's one of the reasons why I think trading him before tomorrow's deadline makes a lot of sense. I think it would work best for the team and the player to move on at this point in time. I really do believe that.
Bobby, I'm going to interrupt you. Elliot Friedman just tweeting out just now, the Vancouver Canucks are trading Connor Garland to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Waiting to see the return on this one. I actually really, really like this fit for the Blue Jackets. I think he's going to be great with Rick Bowness. They have been absolutely red hot and making a real run at an Eastern Conference playoff spot. If I'm a team like the Detroit Red Wings right now, I'm starting to feel a little bit of a gut check. Big fan of this for the Blue Jackets. I'm very curious to see what Vancouver gets back, because if you'll remember, they gave up the Dylan Guenther pick to get Connor Garland in the first place.
Yeah.
So
one of the worst trades.
It is, Bobby, it's 10:08. Okay. It's 12:08 Eastern. We're gonna stay on here a little bit. I think we're gonna see, because I think we're gonna see a little bit of a trickle tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're gonna see some stuff getting confirmed.
Alrighty.
So, but that's the big thing. Just came down the pipe just now. Connor Garland to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nice little move there for Columbus, pending, of course, what the return is.
And a good thing about that too is it does feel like Columbus is not a very desirable place to play. So if you can pick up players that have term, and you can keep there for a long time, I think that does make sense from a Blue Jacket perspective. And Garland's an interesting player when he's engaged and when he's on his game. He's very feisty, very skilled, a good playmaker. He gets in your face. Like, there's a lot to like about Connor Garland. He's probably one of the biggest play drivers, if not the biggest play driver on the Canucks right now. But there are times when he goes through long stretches where he's ineffective. Like right now, I don't think he scored a goal in his last 22 or 23 games. It's been a rough stretch for him. So hopefully this kind of rejuvenates him for Columbus. I'd love to see the Blue Jackets make the playoffs. I think it'd be fun. I want that fan base to experience that again. And Garland should help. Mason Marchment just got hurt, so it could be a nice little replacement there in the Blue Jackets lineup. Well,
in this a long-term addition, Connor Garland signed an extension with the Canucks on July 1st, 25. That is not kicked in yet. He has a full no move starting July 1, 26. And here we are, Garland being traded with no trade protection this year. So who knows? Who's to say if he would have accepted a trade to Columbus 4 months from now? But here we are, and Connor Garland is on the verge of being traded to the Blue Jackets, and we know that this one will not be held up by a clause. Back to the game. The Flames do surrender 2 more empty netters in this one. They had a power play late gave up a shorty to Tim Stützle, his 29th of the season, into the empty net. And then Shane Pinto adding in an empty netter of his own, his 16th of the year at the 1946 mark. Amadio and Zub picking up the assists on that one. And in the end, it is a 4-1 win for the Senators, who move up to 69 points in 61 games. They have lost just one of their last 10 in regulation. They are 7-1-2 in their last 10, and they are 4 points back of the final playoff spot in the East. So it's going to be tight, Bobby. It is going to be a real tight race to the finish line. Out east, Montreal, Boston in the wild card spots. The Islanders and Penguins both sort of in the mix there as well. Not very much not locked down. I would add Detroit to that list as well. I don't think they're that good, and they are in third in the Atlantic. So we shall see how exactly everything plays out, with, of course, Columbus and Ottawa and Washington and even Philadelphia being right there on the outside looking in as well.
Actually, a couple notes on the Sens just before
please.
we move on. Number one, Tim Stützle was spectacular tonight. He was incredible, so dynamic. His skating was unbelievable. His playmaking, the elite vision, he was incredible. Devin Cooley robbed him a couple times. If it wasn't for Cooley, Stützle probably would have had probably another 2 goals on top of his empty netter. So that was one thing I was really impressed with. And just, I actually really like the Senators team. I don't know how you feel about them. I really like the roster, the forwards and defense. They just need to get a save. If they could get a save, I could almost guarantee they would be in third place in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, it's a good group. I still think they need another forward. I think they need another guy to play in their top 6. Giroux's getting a little long in the tooth. He's a very good player still, but he's getting up there a little bit. I like them getting Dylan Cousins, but it still was a lateral move. Like it was. I think Cousins is as good a player as Josh Norris is. He's just
like a healthier Josh
healthy
Norris,
more. But it's you're not really necessarily upgrading there. And getting Zetterlund, I mean, he's their Sharangovich, really. He's a fine depth player, but not a needle mover. So,
right.
You want to see maybe another forward there. I don't think they're going to make that move this year. They traded David Perron tonight, actually, to Detroit.
They got
back
Warren
to Detroit.
Fogle.
They got Warren Fogle, but again, that to me is very Farabee like. Like we're not talking about real needle movers. So we shall see what the future holds for the Sens. I mean, I've lived in Ottawa. I like the Sens. I like that fan base. I like that city. So we'll see. East is going to come down to the wire this year, I think. Questions in the
second
chat.
And a third for Connor Garland, by the way.
Yes, that seems to be the case. Boy, that's interesting. 6 years a term on Connor Garland for the Blue Jackets.
That's actually a nice return by Patrick Allvin and the Canucks. I think that's pretty solid for, like you said, an older player. 6 years left on his deal. Yeah, that's actually a pretty impressive return.
Not bad at all. Some good. Let's get to some chats. There's some good chats. We do have another super chat from RB279. Cooley is outstanding. Give him 10 more games. So sure, there you go. Give him half the games the rest of the way. It's possible. He's been
if you
good.
have a tank, I don't think you want to play Devin Cooley for the rest of the season. He's been unbelievable.
Maybe not. Ascending Horizons. Mike and Bobby, would you use one of the seconds to draft Joe Iginla? I'm sorry, I would not.
Not a second.
Not a second. Joe has had a bit of a rough go in his draft year. He's on the shorter side. He's 5'10". He has 25 points in 51 games. I think Joe will be a 5th or a 6th round pick at this point. I don't think he's going to be a very high pick. I think he could turn into a pro. To me, he is sort of we're talking Sam Reinhart and Max Reinhart, which, no offense, I think he's a fun little player for the Vancouver Giants, but I think we're going to be looking at Joe as more of a, pick late round flyer. Hopefully turns into. I wouldn't use a second rounder on him. If the Flames want to draft him, by all means, I think it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have late picks to use, but if you're going to look at those second round picks, either you're going to get, some real high value, high scoring juniors or collegiates or USHLs, or you're going to package them up. And I think using one on Joe would be a bit of a reach.
My prediction is one thing the Flames will seriously consider is, say, around 13 to 17 in the first round, they might have a player that's in their top 8, top 9 on their draft list, and they really want to go get him. Yeah. I could see them packaging, the Vegas first and maybe 1 or 2 of those second round picks to move up and take one of those guys. That's how I see it playing out, because I don't see them drafting using every single one of those picks because you only have 50 contract slots. I don't think you want to add that many players to your prospect system. So I'm like fairly certain that they'll probably use those to move up in the draft and take someone they like.
It makes sense. Monty Rye 7936 says, "Hey guys, do you think Utah would be a good fit for Kadri?" No.
I mean, if they're not planning on re-signing Nick Schmaltz and they need a guy as your 2C down the middle for the next 3 years, I think it could make some sense. But all reports kind of indicate that they're moving closer towards a contract extension, and I don't know if Kadri would fit in that regard. Then
only problem is Nick Schmaltz he's played a little bit more center this year. He's mostly a right winger for Utah, I think, and he plays with Keller. And they like Hayton on that line. I mean, I do think eventually they will try to find another center. I just don't think they're going to go back to the Calgary well, and I don't think Kadri would go there. I don't think he has any interest in playing in Utah, and I just don't think it meshes with what they're trying to do. I think I don't know if they're going to get there on Robert Thomas. Apparently Blues want Desnoyers, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think something else will come up eventually with Utah, but I don't think Kadri makes a lot of sense. I don't know what makes sense with Kadri at this point. There's a lot of teams that seem to be almost there, but not quite there for me.
There's not a perfect fit.
No.
I mean, I would look at Carolina as a fit, maybe not a perfect fit, because I don't know if he fits the style of play that the Hurricanes play. I look at Minnesota as a decent fit because, I mean, they play a pretty up-tempo, physical, in-your-face style of hockey, so he could be a fit there. And Montreal, a lot of people are connecting Montreal, and even Darren Drager today was saying that the Canadians are super interested in him. If the Flames would retain some salary on Kadri, that deal would essentially be done by now. But I don't think that move makes sense for the Canadians at this point in time. I think they're kind of rushing things. I would be more patient. I'd be looking for a younger center if I were them. So yeah, I mean, I thought Colorado was a really good fit to go McKinnon, Nelson, Kadri down the middle. I thought would have been pretty lethal for them. But yeah, like you said, there's not the perfect fit right now for Naz, and that's one of the reasons why he might not get dealt tomorrow.
I still think LA is the team that makes the most sense. I think the Kings are no good, but I think they don't necessarily realize that.
Mm-hmm.
They moved out that contract today, the Fogle contract, which seems kind of conspicuous to me. And they're not that far out of it in the West. They're pretty far out of it, but they're 3 points out of it. I mean, they could get there in theory. And they just traded for Panarin, and they want to have somebody to play with Panarin. I don't know. I mean,
they're weak down the middle beyond this season too. Like really,
yeah, Kopitar leaving. So we'll see. I don't really know. I mean, we're all guessing until we actually hear something. So, yeah, lots of stuff in the air. I would love to see guys like Hanley and Pahal and Lomberg and the rest of the depth guys move.
Yeah,
and whether the big boys move remains to be seen. And we will get into a lot of that tonight and tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is tomorrow. I actually saw it pinned earlier tonight. We might be putting something up starting at 9 a.m. Here on the Barnburner channel. You can sort of flip between that and the Daily Face-Off show. I may be here. I have no idea. I'll be texting with Jack, I'm sure, in the morning at some point. It'll be an early morning tomorrow. We'll see if the Flames have anything up their sleeve. Here's the thing though, Bobby. These types of deals are very complicated. And there's all sorts of different pieces on the market. Just like when you're shopping for maybe a place to live, you can look at a townhome, a condo, a basement suite, a secondary suite, a hen house, an outhouse, an upstairs alcove, a walk-in closet. You can find all these different places on the market. And Derek Newman knows exactly where to look. He knows exactly where to look to find all sorts of different fits on the housing market. If you're buying or selling any of those different types of accommodations, Derek's your guy. That's DERRICK. He's sold over $100 million in real estate. And we're not talking the bucks that come out of a hen house. We're talking about bucks, dollars. There probably won't be $100 million worth of players traded tomorrow, but Derek's got over $100 million worth in deals. And he's got 65 plus 5-star Google reviews. He's a long-suffering Flames fan. He gets it. You can have a convo with Derek, and he will understand where you're coming from in more than one respect. He'll get what kind of house you're after, but he's also going to say, yeah, I've sat in that saddle. I'm going to sit in Scotia Place, and I'll I'll feel it in my bones. That's Derek Newman. Go to DerekNewmanGroup.com. That's DERRICK Newman.group.com. Call 403-619-6661. Bobby, do it.
I'm on it. I'll do it right now. Should we give Derek a call right now? Maybe get him to come on the show. Get his thoughts on tonight's.
He's a bookable guest. He's a bookable guest. I'm sure we can get Derek on the show tomorrow. I'm sure. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Bobby, what else happened today? Let's have a look at the Daily Faceoff trade tracker. We'll pull it up on our screen, not on our screen, but I'll pull it up on my screen right now. Go to dailyfaceoff.com, folks, for all of the updates in real time. We've got a crack team of me. I'm on the team. But a few other guys. My buddy Scotty, my buddy Anthony, my buddy Colt, my buddy no, I'm trying to
slip up there.
Trying to think of the names. Ben, Scotty Maxwell, Hunter. That's who I was thinking of. We got so many guys. Matty Larkin and Stephen Ellis is my editors. They're the best. And Brock Sagan is updating this trade tracker over at Daily Faceoff. And as we look into it, March 5th is officially in the books going with this tracker. Earlier today, we had Michael Bunting traded by Nashville to the Dallas Stars. Does that take up the Blake Coleman spot? Hard to say. They might have still a little bit of room. That was a third-round pick for Michael Bunting. You'd hope that the Flames might be able to get a little bit more, especially maybe if they make a deal with Tampa Bay, who really hasn't made a whole lot of additions yet, Bobby.
That was actually a sneaky good move. I've always been a bit of a Michael Bunting fan, and to get him for a third, I actually thought was pretty good work at the Stars, and just makes that forward group even deeper. Like watching them on Tuesday against the Flames, that was without Rope Hinson, Mikko Rantanen, and they just took it to Calgary. It was unbelievable. Even guys down the bottom of the lineup like Sam Steele were taking the Flames to task. So yeah, adding Bunting I think it's a really good move between him and Myers. I think they're looking pretty solid.
Michael Bunting, hashtag Yotes Abroad. Minnesota Wild acquiring Jeff Petrie from the Florida Panthers in exchange for the cream of the crop of deadline deals, a conditional 7th heading to the Florida Panthers for Jeff Petrie, veteran, probably in his last go-around, going to a Wild team that'll make the playoffs in easy fashion. Maybe they'll play him with Quinn Hughes. Probably not.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
Doesn't bode well for the Wild.
I don't think so. This one was interesting, though. Colorado acquiring a center earlier today, and it was exactly who we expected, Nick Waugh, going from Toronto to Colorado. In the end, Toronto technically getting a first-round pick for Mitch Marner, Bobby.
That's actually, it turned into a half-decent return because, I mean, Waugh was just going to be a fourth-line center for them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Colorado's doing. Giving up a first-round pick and a fifth for Nick Waugh? Like, what is going on there? And that was the rumored package to go in for Nazem Kadri if there was salary retention. So, you know, they missed out on Kadri because supposedly Flames ownership nicked it, according to Nick Kyprios, and they go and take all those picks and give them for Nick Waugh for some reason. I don't really get it on their part.
Well, and that was only one of two deals involving a veteran fourth-line center named Nick going from a Eastern Conference team to one of the top teams in the West, although maybe a stretch if we're talking about the Vegas Golden Knights right now. But they do acquire Nick Dowd from the Washington Capitals for Jesper Wickman, goaltender, 2029 second-round pick, 29 second, holy smokes, and a 27 third-rounder. So a lot of deals today.
We got another one here, too.
Let's see. Let's hear it.
All right, we got Winnipeg Jets trade Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn to Buffalo.
That's not new.
For 22-year-old Isaac Rosen, 28-year-old Jacob Bryson, and a second-round pick.
Oh, they traded Rosen? Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, I kind of wanted Isaac Rosen in Calgary, I'm not going to lie. But here's the funny thing, okay? So, 2021 draft, okay? So, after Gunther at 9 goes to Arizona, there's a huge sort of drop-off. That's the consensus, right? Nobody really knows. Everybody kind of knew who the top 9 were. They weren't sure of the order. And then at 10, it's a huge, like, whoa, what happens here now? And 10, Tyler Boucher, Ottawa. And it's like, oh. 11, forfeited pick. Okay. 12 is Cole Sillinger, Columbus. 13, Coronado to Calgary. 14, Isaac Rosen to Buffalo. The guy who's picked right after Matty Coronado just got traded for Logan Stanley. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Thank God the Senators took Tyler Boucher in that draft, because I don't think the
kidding.
Flames are getting Coronado if that happens.
Yeah. That is really something.
Now
I mean,
you watch a lot of Buffalo.
yeah, I love him.
Maybe give the viewers an idea, like what kind of player is Isaac Rosen?
Well, Isaac Rosen sort of the perception of Isaac Rosen was sort of similar to the perception of Matt Savoy when he got traded by the Sabres. Just sort of like a quadruple A type player. Maybe not really a needle mover at this point. He's already, I think, 22. Got a couple games with the Sabres this year. Wasn't really seen as a big difference maker. Yeah, I mean, it's a player for the Jets who will play in the NHL right away. He's developed over the last couple of years in Roch Vegas with the Americans. And then Stanley to Buffalo is fun because you can put him on a pairing with Mike Kesselring, another former Yote, and have basically a Twin Towers on your third pairing. Buffalo's got a killer top four. And I was kind of leery of Parayko as a fit for Buffalo because I was worried that it would disrupt their top four, which is so good with Dahlin and Samuelsson and Byram and Power. And I like the stylistic fit a little bit of Stanley with Kesselring. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And then Shen also going to Winnipeg or going to Buffalo here as your number 7 for the playoffs, I think makes a lot of sense as well. I don't know about a second, but it's not as bad as it could be. And I will say, if I'm the Sabres, I am running to the bank to trade Isaac Rosen way before I am moving Radim Murtka, who they would have moved for Colton Parayko. And I thought that was going to be a huge mistake. So I kind of dig it. I like that they're making moves. They're also getting Sam Carrick from the Rangers, which is a bit of a depth addition. So I hope, here's how I'll put it. I want to see Buffalo add another forward. I hope they're not done.
I could see a guy like Blake Coleman fitting in really well there.
Yeah.
Don't know if Blake would want to go there, but he would be a great fit on that team. From a Jets perspective, I also really like this deal too. Things have been really quiet around that team, which is super concerning to me. It felt like they were just, content staying in the middle, which I think is ridiculous. So I'm really happy to see that they actually bit the bullet and are starting to trade some pending UFAs. I hope it doesn't stop there. I hope guys like Tanner Pearson and Gustav Nyquist, if they can get anything for guys like that, they have to do that, because a little retool on the fly here for the Jets makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe they can use these pick prospects and go out and make a trade for a little bit of an impact maker, because especially in their top 6, they need another top 6 forward there. So I'm happy they're not sitting on their hands here. I'm really happy that they're actually selling.
Logan Stanley is almost a foot taller than Jacob Bryson. Jacob Bryson is 5'9". Logan Stanley is 6'8", I think. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. I dig it for the Sabres, to be honest. And I will tee up something right now. If, in fact, I do come to the studio tomorrow, I promise everybody in the chat this. I will be wearing my Buffalo Sabres Thomas Vanek jersey on the couch or wherever they put me, even if I'm only on screen for like 10 seconds. So that is a promise from me to you. And one more trade that I just wanted to discuss before we sort of move on to other things here. This one was interesting to me. We talked about it yesterday on the Uyghur show, and now we'll talk about it again now. Andrew Mangiapane, first-round pick from from Edmonton to Chicago. Jason Dickinson, Colton Dach going to Edmonton. And for me, I get what Edmonton's trying to do. I think Dickinson is an okay player. I don't know much about Dach as a guy for Edmonton at this point. Edmonton continues to hemorrhage draft picks.
I mean, this year, so alone, they've traded 2027 first, 2027 third, 28 second, 29 second, along with Skinner, Kulak, and Mangiapane. All they've brought back is Spencer Stastny, Tristan Jarry, Sam Poulin, Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, Colton Dach. You trade away a ton of valuable prospects and even some decent NHLers. You don't get anything in return. I mean, Connor Murphy's a decent number 4, number 5. And then Jason Dickinson's probably a fourth-line center on a lot of competitive teams. Like, what are they doing? Like, Stan Bowman's on a generational run right now of screwing over this team. It's glorious to watch, but, like, what are they doing? Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl must be pissed right now.
Well, they haven't traded for a legit difference maker, in my opinion, since Ekholm. They give up a ton of picks for just marginal upgrades. It is really strange to watch what these Oilers are doing, but I'm not complaining. And Lord be with them as they move forward into the playoffs this season.
Like even Jake Wallman, like he's
Wallman was okay.
Okay, but like he's
Yeah.
probably a number 4 and a contender.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's basically Ekholm and that's it. Every other depth piece they brought in, like Adam Henrique, has not worked out. Trent Frederick is an unmitigated disaster.
Horrible.
Like what are they doing? It's unbelievable how this team continues to shoot themselves in the foot while they have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl up there. It's insane.
It really is, Bobby. Hey, folks out there, let me just check some right now, because it is Thursday, March the 5th, 10:30 p.m. And here's the thing. Trade deadline's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And we'll have our shows going on. We'll have the Daily Face-Off show. We'll have the Barn Burner show, whatever it is. And the Unicorn opens at 11. Okay. Unicorn on 8th opens at 11. I actually don't know what the hours on the one on 4th are. Looks like it opens at 11 as well. So here's my idea. Here's my pitch to all you out there. I mean, I get it. It's a work day. It's Friday. Well. Call in sick. Go to the Unicorn, 11 a.m., 2 hours. Get them to turn on one of the shows and have some fun. Have some fun. Play some darts. Play some darts. Boy, what a normie turn of phrase that is. Chuck some darts. Throw some darts. Play some buck hunter. Do some pinball. I mean, they got all sorts of stuff at the Unicorn. It's two locations. It's at 223 8th Ave Southwest, 1919 4th Street Southwest. And I guarantee you, if you went into the Unicorn and asked them to throw on that Daily Face-Off show on one of their TVs, they would say yes. They might have a couple other deadline shows on, but I'm sure they would turn ours on. Why wouldn't they turn ours on? It's the best show. They're supporters of ours. And you know what? It's a great local institution with game day $7 points in Molson. It's located in the heart of Stephen Ave, or on the corner of 20th Ave and 4th Street. It's really in the heart of Calgary. So head on over to the Unicorn and see if maybe it's a good luck charm as far as the deadline is concerned. Maybe the second you walk into the Unicorn, it'll be like, boom, Kadri's traded. Just try it. Try it on for size tomorrow at 11 a.m. Why not?
I recommend the lemon pepper wings. Fantastic. Fish tacos. Fantastic. Give those a try. Absolutely delicious.
Fish tacos. Jay Boy says, my bro used to be the head chef there. There you go. Even better. We got a local connection. Bingo, bango, bongo. Get those super chats in, folks. We want to hear from you. Proceeds from the super chats benefit the youth centers of Calgary. It's a great spot. It's where kids can get the help they need. It's where they can get the support they deserve. Help them out. Get your comments on the show. There's lots to talk about tonight. I mean, lots to talk about tonight.
We got a return in the Sam Carrick trade.
We do. 3rd and 6th for Sam Carrick. A little rich for me, but hey, what are you going to do?
I agree. That's a lot for a fourth line center. Better than a first-round pick for Jason Dickinson, though.
True. And I think, that's the thing, though. I think Carrick's more of a fourth-line winger, but we'll see. I don't think he's going to play center for that team. But, hey, you know what? He's got a motor, and the Sabres seem to like their depth guys with a motor. So maybe it'll work out. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a good playoff team. They're going to be a dangerous team, I think, in this postseason.
They're
Especially, they're not going to face the Lightning. That's the thing. Highly unlikely they face the Lightning. And so if they're not facing the Lightning, I like their odds against like a lot of those other teams. I like their odds against Detroit. I like their odds against most of the wild card contenders.
Boston for sure.
Yeah, I think those Sabres are going to win a round, maybe 2. I like them a lot.
Buffalo, Montreal would be a sweet first-round matchup. That would be unreal.
Incredible.
I hope that happens. That would be fantastic.
I love it. Yeah, it's good stuff. We do have a super chat from our buddy Arby again. Arby, you're just doing yeoman's work. Yeoman's work, Arby. You are a yeoman, whatever that means. No, Mike, we want nothing but the worst for the Oiler greasers. That means McBride's made plays like a passenger and they missed the playoffs entirely. Sure. I'm not going to complain about your hypothetical. So there you go. Thank you.
Now, you were pretty surprised about the Uyghur trade. I was listening to the Barn Burner show.
Shocked.
I was very surprised, too. Do you think we could see any more surprises tomorrow? Whether it's, like a Farabee, a Frost, do they move White Cloud? Does somebody give up a first-round pick for White Cloud? Do you see anything kind of coming out of left field? for the Flames
Bobby,
tomorrow?
if I was expecting it, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not expecting it, and I will be surprised. I mean, that's really as succinct as I can put it. I mean, it's let me put it this way. I won't be surprised if they trade Kadri. I won't be surprised if they trade Coleman. We've been talking about this all year long. Yeah. I will be surprised if they trade Zach Whitecloud. In fact, I'll be like stunned if they trade Zach Whitecloud. I will be as surprised as I was when they traded Weegar, if they trade Whitecloud. And I will be surprised if they trade Frost. I will be surprised if they trade Farabee. I don't see a reality in which any other meaningful players on this team are traded. I don't think Marty Pospisil is going to be traded. I think he has too little of a track record this year to go. I think teams are going to be too worried about his health. I think Connor Zary would be shocking. I don't see any reality in which like Connor Zary really has any trade value at all. And I don't see it making much sense. I mean, if we are in a world where Yegor Sharangovich with his 22 points has no trade value, I don't think Connor Zary with his 23 have any trade value. But
at least he's younger and makes less money. I mean, there's
that much less.
There's some potential there. I mean, he makes like what, $2 million less.
Yeah, but still,
with the way Zary's been skating this year and just his inconsistency, I don't see any team having interest in him right now.
It's still unwieldy. Like Zary at almost 4 a year is tough to fit in. Yeah. And he's not an established player at this point who teams would be after. I don't think.
Is he a part of this team, like this new core moving forward, you think, or is this a guy who's going to be out of town within the next few years?
I don't think he's necessarily out of town. It's just like, you know, with Connor Zary, you're basically looking at this guy and saying, okay, you're one of the first guys here. Here's what I'll sort of pull a Utah thing. I liken him to the Lawson Krause, right? The guy who got there a little before and who sticks around maybe while guys like Keller and Schmaltz and Cooley and Gunther and whoever are ripping it out. And he goes from the first or second line down to the third or fourth line, but is still part of the team, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I see him sort of sticking around in that way. Trying to think of other types of players like that, like sort of like the Tyler Johnson almost, right? Like where he goes from being a top tier guy in Tampa, but by the time they're really, really good and actual cup contenders, he's on their third or fourth line, right? Now, Zary has not shown the same offense pop at the NHL level as some of those guys have, but I think he will stick around, and the same goes for Matty Coronado, of course. But like a tough season for those two.
For sure. The thing that I think is interesting to point out in this whole conversation is just look at who's coming up in the Flame system here. I think Connor Zary's running out of runway to be a member of this team, because pretty soon a guy like Ethan Wittenbach's going to be playing for the Flames. You know, Matvei Gridin's already established his spot. Could we see like Stromgren or Cairns next year? When's Suniev going to get in there? Battaglia, Basha, you know, there's so many forwards. And then, you know, they're going to add a ton more here in this upcoming draft. And who knows, maybe a couple of them are going to take spots. If you get a Stenberg or Gavin McKenna, they're going to be here next year. I almost see Zary's spot being just completely pushed out of here. The one thing that he needs to do next season, he needs to come back and be a way better skater. You know, I know Matt Coronado, like he worked in depth there with Daniel Fujita. He improved his skating quite a bit. Connor Zary's got to do the exact same thing. I don't know if it's going to happen at age 24. That's a pretty difficult thing to ask for from somebody that age, but his skating is holding him back. Like he's so slow out there. He easily gets caught on the back check all the time. He can't really make plays because of his feet. He's got to come back and be a better skater. If he's not a better skater, I think that his time with the Flames is going to end within the next probably 2 to 3 years.
Well, here's one thing that I'm going to say. And I'm going to go back to the point that I made about Kadri earlier, where I wouldn't be that upset if the Flames didn't trade him, because I think there's a chance he actually has a better offensive or productive season next year, even if he's not maybe all around the type of player. I think he's the Flames. We have sort of talked about the last couple of weeks might not have a single 20-goal scorer this year.
Yeah.
And I think it's looking increasingly more likely that they might not even have a single 50-point player this year. Kadri is still at 41 in 61 games. Backlund is at 35. Coronado is at 30. And Coronado has been at 30 for a long time now.
Yeah,
he's been sitting there for ages. Frost 29, Farabee 25, Zary 23, Sharangovich 22, Coleman 22, Weegar 21, Uyghur's gone now. I mean, Huberto's still at 25. Of course, he'll end there. Anderson finished up at 30. Anderson had 30 points in 48 games on this team.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
But like I was saying with Kent the other night, you kind of have to look at the point totals on this team like you're converting USD to CAD, like you're going to a cash converter shop and you're saying, okay, everybody on this team, your point totals are the equivalent of 30% more anywhere else. And I think this is something that is going to be tough to rectify this year, but I think the natural flow of the universe will propel players who have 22 or 23 points on this team to have closer to 30, 40 next season, just by, the reversal of inertia. But I'm curious to hear what you think about that. Cause it is the type of year that I have never really seen for the Calgary Flames.
Well, it's because it's never happened before. Like I went back and looked. The only times there haven't been a 20-goal scorer was in the lockout shortened season in 2013, and then the pandemic shortened season when it was only 56 games. Those are the only two times the Flames have never had a 20-goal scorer, but they had players who were on pace for at least 20. I think there were, Mike Camilleri was one in the lockout shortened season, Jerome Iginla. And then in the pandemic shortened season, Lindholm, Tkachuk, Mangiapane, and Gaudreau were all on pace for over 20 goals. So not only is no one on pace for 20 goals, no one's going to hit 20 goals. It's remarkable. And I think it's mainly because, number one, it's just a lack of talent. These, you watch tonight, they could not make a pass. They couldn't exit their zone. They couldn't make plays in the offensive zone. Everything is dump and chase and working along the walls. There's no tape-to-tape passes. There's no creativity. So I think part of it is just the lack of talent on the roster. And then the other part is I think Ryan Huska does kill a little bit of excitement with his style of play. It's you got to stay in your defensive zone, in deep. It doesn't allow for like any sort of transition through the neutral zone, speed to gain through the neutral zone. It's a lot of dump and chase. Like it's just between the system and the lack of talent. You're right. If you put a Morgan Frost on a more talented team, he probably does get an extra 5 or 6 points this year. You put Farabee on a different team, it might be 5 or 6, maybe even more than that. So yeah, I think you're bang on with that. I think that's a really good analogy.
Well, this is something. I haven't kept track of this for a few games, but we are officially at a point where not only I've been saying this for a few weeks that I didn't think the Flames were going to have a single 20-goal scorer this year. Mm-hmm. And that has been largely based on vibes. The Flames have been awful. They have not been productive. And it's just seemed like they're going to continue this way. Well, for the first time that I have checked this year, it is official. They have nobody who's even on pace for 20 goals this year. Matty Coronado has been on pace for 21 over an 82-game season, but his pace has obviously slowed down. I think he has 3 goals in his last 20 games. It's been a tough little slog here for Matty, to the point where now over an 82-game season, he's on pace for 19. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I don't think he gets there.
No.
It is a real tough one. And as we have mentioned, 14 goals is the most anybody has on the Flames this year. For a lot of the year, we've been comparing them to the Blues as an offensively limited team. And you know what? Even still today, the Blues don't have anybody above 14 goals, but at least they have 3 guys who have 14 goals, Neighbors, Kyrou, and Buchnevich. I mean, even the LA Kings, who are a team that has been, neck and neck offensively horrible with the Flames this year. And they actually have less forward depth than the Flames do, which is crazy. But even still, Adrian Kempe already has 23 goals. Fiala had 18 before he got hurt. Laferrier's got 15. It's crazy, Bobby. And you're right. Wittenbach is coming. Gridden, will be a full-timer next year. Honzik is coming. Reshny is definitely coming. They are going to likely have 3 first-round picks this year. I would be shocked if they don't end up with 3 first-round picks this year. They already have 2. I think they're going to get a 3rd, and who knows what'll happen on top of that. So
it's
interesting. Cavalry's on its way.
For sure it is. I really think the future is very bright for this team, but there's going to be a couple really bad years of hockey, and we're seeing it right now. And when you take a look at the roster, too, you look at the guys who you think can score goals. Matt Coronado, he has just not looked dangerous at all. You go back to last season, he was getting that snapshot off, getting off one-timers from the slot. It seemed like he was finding those kind of soft positions, almost like Sean Monahan would back in the day. And that shot was lethal last year, and we just really haven't seen that at all this season. There was a potential for Blake Coleman to get up to 20, but he's going to get traded, and he's been hurt. The other guy you might look at is Yegor Sharangovich just because of the shot, but he gets off that shot so few times. It's ridiculous.
Sparingly.
Like we saw the shot against Anaheim the other night on the power play, and I'm like, why aren't you doing that every single game? I don't understand this guy. He's got a lethal shot when he can get it off. He's got a good one-timer too. We saw that in the season. He scored 31 goals, but he just refuses to shoot the puck. It's awful.
Well, he gets a lot of shots blocked is the thing that bugs me with Yegor is he always gets guys in his lane.
Even then, like, I still don't feel like it's all that dangerous. Even like when he does get off a one-timer, I don't think to myself like, whoa, like that's a hard one-timer that just got blocked. Like I find like he's fanning on a lot of shots. He's just not getting a lot of good looks. And then there's Kadri, and we all know Kadri can go on heaters. He went on a heater earlier this year where he had, I think it was something like 24 points in 20 games. So, who knows? Maybe he does something like that again and can hover around 20. But yeah, just all these guys who you expect to score goals this year just have not been dangerous at all. And maybe it's just one of those seasons. Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's the talent level. I think the guy next year that has a legit shot at 20 is Matvei Gridin. A full season of Matvei Gridin as a 20-year-old, I do think he could probably push there. But even next year, like, who's going to get to 20? This team's going to be awful next year. They're going to be so bad. It'll probably be the worst Flames team of our life. I think they'll probably be even worse than like the 13-14 team that was also pathetic.
I think they'll be better.
I think they'll
be better.
Way.
I think they'll be better.
Dude, we should make a bet right now. I can almost guarantee they're going to be worse next year.
I think they will be I think they will have sort of a dead cat bounce. I think they will trade a bunch of guys. And I think they will, like, here's the way that I put it. No, they don't have a Johnny who comes in and turns this thing around. I do think we will see some growth from some of their guys, but I just also think we are going to see a really weird year. I think it's going to be like weirder than this, where I think they're going to maybe go for sort of what we saw with the Sharks a few years ago, where they go really wide open. I think they're going to really overcorrect to this season in the name of trying to prioritize more offense. And I think we're going to see a real high scoring year.
What? Really?
Yeah. I think they're going to go
with this roster.
Yeah. Real high scoring is relative. It's relative.
Like, how many more goals are they going to score next year compared to this year?
40.
40 more?
It's not that many.
Who's going to score them?
I mean, they're already like 40 worse than they were last year. So I think it's just going to be a regression to the mean.
Like what happens if Coleman and Kadri are gone next year?
Then Coronado scores 30.
Who's feeding him the puck? Who's he playing with? It's going to be the same coach. It's going to be the same system.
Somebody has to score on a bad team. And, this year it hasn't happened. But people in the chat are rightfully roasting me, but also I just think we are going to see, and I don't think it's actually going to be an instance of the team being meaningfully better. I just think we are going to see a regression to a positive way from a year where basically everything offensively has gone wrong.
I don't know if everything has gone wrong though. I mean,
offensively it has.
You just take a look at the talent level on this team. Like, I just don't know how much more you're going to get out. Like, let's just run through it. How much more are you going to get out of Connor Zary next year? Like, is he going to come back and be the same kind of slow skater? Kadri might not be here. Frost, how much more are you expecting out of Frost? Backlund's going to be 37 next year, and he's having one of the better offensive years of his career. I don't see that happening again. Yegor has been terrible. I don't see him getting to 25, 30 goals again. Pospisil's probably a single-digit guy. Like, the one guy who I think can come in and add goals is Gridin. I think he's going to be great, but Klapka's not going to score more. Coronado can get to 20, but with this group and the lack of playmaking, I don't know if he can get to 30. Like, I don't see it. If anything, if they were going to be a litlittle bit more successful next year, I think it would come because Dustin Wolf will have a better season, because he hasn't been great this year. If he can get back to where he was in his Calder Trophy nominated season, I think they could maybe be a little bit better. But offensively, yeah, I do not see it with this group. They'd have to add somebody in the offseason via trade to like Gavin McKenna or Stenberg. Like, maybe they could add something, but I don't see it. I honestly think you're crazy.
That's fine. You're allowed to. I just hockey works in mysterious ways, Bobby.
It's a weird sport. Yeah, I agree. It's a weird sport.
Yeah. Like, we have seen fluctuations on this roster without huge deviations. And I think overall we are going to see guys have inflated years, just based on circumstance. I think we are going to see a change from a lot of 2-1 losses to a lot of 5-4 losses. I think it's just going to be a philosophical change. We'll see. I don't think they will be meaningfully better in any way.
Yeah,
I think they will be just as bad. I just think they will be bad in a different way.
Like, do you think Huska's going to open this thing up? Like, that's the last thing I see this head coach doing.
I don't know if he'll be the coach, but we'll see.
He'll definitely be back next year. There's no
maybe. It's not like the thing is, this all gets pinned on Huska, and
he's part to blame. I don't think it's everything like a lot of people make it out to be. I agree.
Yeah, like I get it. I do get it. This is also a coach under whom Nazem Kadri has scored 35 goals and 75 points. Like his Stockton Heat teams, like they were okay. They were never like big playoff teams, but there were guys on that team who could score. Like,
well, even Jaeger had 31 under him. Coleman had 30 under him. Like guys have produced a little bit. You know, Huberdeau 61 points. So I know that's not great for his standards, but still 61 point season under this guy.
Yeah. I just think we're gonna see a little bit of a rebiggle. There we go. Under Huska next year. I just think with different guys playing in different situations. You also didn't mention Zane Parekh being on the power play, which I think could legitimately open things up with a little bit more.
How many NHL games is he going to play next year? Do you think he's going to play all 82, or do you think he could start the year in the AHL?
You know, I keep suggesting to people who know better than I do that Parekh could play in the A, and I get pushback every time. Like nobody agrees with me when I say Parekh will play in the A next year. Maybe he will, but if I think there's a very good chance he starts in the NHL and plays the whole year.
Well, especially with no Uyghur now on the right side. I mean, it does open up a spot for him.
Like I think the same with Brstevich. I think Brstevich will play most of the year in the NHL. I think we will see similar puck moving upside. Similar puck moving upside on the defensive core next year, even if it's not quite as established. And I do think Zary will take a little bit of a step. I'm serious on that part. I think I find it very hard to believe Coronado will be this terrible. I think Coronato's been just as bad as Igor for a lot of this year, if not even a little less effective because he doesn't PK.
The interesting thing with Coronado is that it looks like he's working really hard, where there are times with Jaeger where it looks like he doesn't.
He's not. Yeah.
But they're both equally as ineffective right now. I think it's a good point.
So like I just think there's a different way that they can approach this. I think they could have a completely new look power play next year that just clicks from day one. Like I think there's a way that they could make something really interesting happen where it's a really young group. You know, what would it look like if from day one of training camp it is Zane, Coronado, Gridden, Zary, and somebody else on the
Frost or something like that,
or Frost, right? Like that's just the way that I could see it, you know, along with just natural flow changing in a different way. In any event, this has been an interesting discussion, and I actually kind of liked it.
I will say I'm on the complete opposite end. I actually think they'll be worse offensively next year. I think this team is just talentless.
I look forward,
and I think it's a good thing. I think they could. I actually think they will finish in dead last next year. I think they're going to be that bad.
I don't, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm starting to get a little giddy. I almost feel like they're going to win the lottery this year, Bobby. So
that would be incredible. By the way, I hope you're right, because next year could be absolutely miserable. And if they lose a lot of games 5-4 instead of 2-1, that would make our lives a lot better. So I hope you're right. I genuinely hope
much
you're right.
Better.
Because watching this it's awful right
agony.
Now. But this is what we want. This is what a rebuild is going to look like for a couple years. I'm okay with it, but it does stink.
Like, here's the thing. I think the organizational directive next year will be, we need fans to come to these games.
Yeah.
We need goals.
It should be.
How do we manufacture goals at any cost?
But does Ryan Huska care about entertainment value, or is he going to try everything in his power to win games 2-1 because he knows his team can't score and he has a good goalie? Is he going to keep this defensive kind of trap system going? That's my concern with where you're going with the offense here.
I think Ryan Huska cares about keeping his job. And if it's an organizational directive to, you know, get goals however you can, I think he will play along. But hard to
But
say.
in terms of him and in his job value, like moving forward, if he ends up, say the Flames are one of the worst defensive teams in the league and they give up a ton, but they've scored a little bit more, how does that look to other GMs who are going to be looking to hire coaches in the future? Because we know Husk is not going to be here forever. Now is he all of a sudden going to have a track record? Oh, this guy's not a very good defensive coach, but even though it was the Flames telling him to do that, like I wonder if there's like some sort of psychology there behind that when it comes to a guy like Huska.
Yeah, by the same token, you could easily say, hey, there's that Huska guy. Matty Coronado turned into a 30-goal scorer under him. Like it works both ways. It works both ways. So I don't know. It's just an interesting conversation topic.
For sure.
And I think we will see the other aspect of next year that's kind of interesting is there will be more guys who are playing for contracts. That is a very real thing in the NHL. We saw it with Rasmus this year. We're going to see Morgan Frost playing for a new deal next year. We're going to see sort of Farabee getting to that point where he's sort of maybe going to be looking to play his way out of town.
Zary will be fighting for his life.
Exactly. I think we're going to see a little bit of desperation on the part of certain guys as well on the Flames next year. So lots to dig into. Bobby, here's something. Here's something that I want to discuss with you because, we're talking about things getting better year over year. And you know what always gets better year over year is the GMC Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab. And you know what gets even better month over month? Well, not deals on trucks typically, but this month they are better. It's truck month with GMC. And if you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your ride, this is it. And it's not next month, it's now. 0% financing available for 72 months. That Sierra Pro Graphite Crew Cab's got a 2-inch factory lift with off-road suspension and a 5.3-liter V8. Bobby, they're not making many V8s anymore, but the Sierra's got it. And you don't want to miss out. V8s, might not be around forever, but this one delivers the kind of power you actually feel when you hit the gas. Truck month, you can get into it. Your very own GMC Sierra. So head on over to your local GM spot. Get into a new truck. We got some more comments. Mean Green Peen. Bobby, I like your takes on Twitter. Keep up the good work. Look at this, Bobby. Making it big time with Mean Green Peen.
Unreal. My life is made.
Peen.
Thank you.
Look at that. Bobby's really going Hollywood tonight. Matt C saying Husker will be gone by December. KQ saying hire Pete DeBoer. I don't know. I mean, I think that would be kind of weird.
I don't think it doesn't fit with this group. Peter DeBoer, you're bringing Peter DeBoer to get you over the top.
Why would Pete DeBoer come to Calgary?
Yeah.
I
don't see that one working.
No, I don't think so either. Let's see what else. Cats and Rats podcast. If Flames aren't soft buying in summer, this is the last place in the league type of team. Somebody else agrees with you, Bobby, outside of a surprise run. That's the thing about those runs. They're always a surprise. But we'll see. Jan Char 5043 says bring Hartley back. That would get the Flames some more scoring.
Jesus.
Hello.
I think you get a lot of trade requests if that were to happen.
Yeah. There were some people who were suggesting that I've taken some substances tonight with my take. No, I'm a professional. But thank you. So yeah, there we go. Lots of interesting discussion topics out of that game. One game has just gone final. The Islanders losing 5-3 to the LA Kings. 6 games on the docket, I believe, in the NHL tomorrow. We'll have a look at some of them with Bet365. Go check them out. It's a good spot. It is never ordinary. Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use that code NATION, NATION, if you don't know how to spell it. And Afterburner is a presentation of Bet365. 6 games on the docket tomorrow, Bobby, and we don't have props based on where certain players will go, but here's a look at some of them over at Bet365. Florida is the underdog against the Detroit Red Wings. 7 games on the docket tomorrow. I can't count clearly. Florida underdog against Detroit. Detroit at -150. Colorado, Dallas, we'll talk a little bit more about that one in a minute. Vancouver and Chicago, that'll be a fun one. We hope that one becomes a 3-point game from the tank standpoint. Carolina, Edmonton, that one's a bit of a push. Both teams kind of regarded evenly in that one. Montreal, Anaheim, Minnesota, Vegas, St. Louis, San Jose. Bobby, we'll get to the Colorado-Dallas game in a second, but other than that, any other games, any other lines here stick out to you from Bet365?
I will definitely be watching the Montreal Canadiens take on the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
That's two of the most electrifying teams in the league going at it. I love the way the Anaheim Ducks play, so I will definitely have my eye on that one for sure.
Don't disagree. I'll be looking at St. Louis, San Jose. St. Louis starting to play a little bit better, especially after getting Dylan Holloway back after the Olympics, starting to score some more. Flames need the Blues to keep winning games for sure if they want to have the best possible draft pick this June. So that one's one to watch. Let's have a closer look at this Colorado-Dallas game, though, because this could be a Western Conference final type game, except it won't be. These two teams are almost guaranteed to not meet in the Western Conference final because of the NHL's stupid standing system. They are the two best teams in the league standings right now, but as it stands, almost certain to meet in the second round of the playoffs. Bobby, good money on this one, says Colorado, but what's your take?
Well, Dallas, as of Tuesday, had won 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
They're on absolute fire right now. I love the way they play. I would almost be tempted to throw a little coin on Dallas.
How is Dallas not the favorite in this game? They've literally won 10 in a row.
Yeah. They're literally 10-0-0 in their last 10. I would definitely go with them. I know they're a little banged up. Colorado hasn't been quite as good lately. They're 6-4 in their last 10, but the Avalanche have also won 3 in a row. So, I mean, that should also just be an epic game.
There's a look at it from our friends over at Bet365. If only they had lines on whether the Flames will claim Alexander Holtz off waivers tomorrow. Am I right, Bobby? All signs point to no on that one. Bobby, before we head off here, I want to put you on the spot. Again, I don't know if there are any props on this, but just let's go rapid fire. Nazem Kadri, Blake Coleman, Zach Whitecloud, Joel Hanley, Braden Pahal, Ryan Lomberg. Let's go one at a time. What happens with Blake Coleman tomorrow?
I think he's going to Carolina.
Wow.
Carolina's been awfully quiet. I think they're cooking up something. And I think Blake Coleman is like the prototypical Carolina Hurricane. I think he'd be a perfect fit there.
Love it. Bold. Nazem Kadri, go.
Okay, I want to have fun and be like, he's going to Minnesota. I don't think he'll get traded, but if he does, I'll go Minnesota.
Cool. Zach Whitecloud, what happens then?
Yeah, he's staying put. He's not going until 2028.
Yeah, I think so. Joel Hanley.
Yeah, I think he's going to go, especially with Oli Mata acquired to play on the left side there. I'll go Joel Hanley to Detroit.
Detroit. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
They need help on the left side. Their left side is awful.
Braden Pahal.
I think he'll get dealt. I don't know where. A lot of teams could use him.
Okay, and last one, Bobby. Ryan Big Boy Lomberg.
I think he's staying. I think after trading Weegar, I think they need to keep him around just for the vibes, because without Weegar and Lomberg, no Hubie anymore. Coleman's going to be gone. Like, they need somebody there to make it a fun place to work. So I think they're going to keep him.
Okay, I think Coleman's going to Tampa Bay. Connor Geekie 1-for-1. I am with you. I think Nazem Kadri stays put. I think Joel Hanley goes. I think Braden Pahal does not go. They need the extra righty. They don't have the need for a lefty anymore. And I think Lomberg goes. I think Lomberg will go. Whitecloud will stay, but Lomberg will go. I think hard to say though. Again, with these depth guys, it's like shooting bullets 20 miles away. Trying to hit a target 20 miles away. It's impossible. So I'll throw a dart at the board and say Ryan Lomberg to. You know what? Ryan Lomberg to Montreal.
Oh, I like it.
Bingo, bango, bongo. Imagine singing the anthem on the bench and down.
Oh, yeah.
There you
Fans
go.
would love him.
There we go. So
Ryan Lomberg in the playoffs.
There we go. That's good stuff. Any more super chats? Don't think so, Yasmin. Maybe. Oh, we got a couple more. Here we go. RB 279 again. Good Lord. Dude, I get it. It goes to a children's charity, and we love it. It's fantastic. The U.S. Calgary is very appreciative. Can we be friends, RB? Can we hang out? Yeah, you can take me out to lunch and drop the credit card, because I'm game, buddy. You got some dollars. Draft Joe. It's the right thing to do. Connie Fittens. I mean, I will say this. I don't think they'll have a ton of competition to draft Joe. And I mean no disrespect to Joe again. It's just that 5'10" wingers who are under a point or under a half a point a game in the WHL in their draft years don't tend to get drafted.
Well, like Cameron Schmidt, what like the 4th round last year,
and he was like
well
50
over
goal
a point
scorer.
per game. Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think it. I just don't think it makes sense. But all the best to the kid. I hope he gets drafted by somebody. Maybe it'll be the Flames. RP. Oh my God. Zary was -2 tonight. -9 this year. Trade him, Bobby. Minus. I mean, sure. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. I like this chat that just came in from KQ. Mike knows everything. Yeah.
Mike's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
Jux JC, we're getting the Rucks. I hope you are correct. I would love the Flames to get the Rucks. That'd be super cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Bobby, any more little thoughts trickling out of your cortex there? Anything coming out of your mind? Anything else going on?
I've spilled my guts out here tonight. I put it all on the line. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's time to go to bed.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Bobby. My name is Mike Gould. Robert Munnich to my right. Tomorrow is the trade deadline, folks. We are now officially less than 14 hours from the deadline, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Hope you'll join us tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to be a part of it. I have no idea. But join us in Daily Faceoff. Join us here on Flames Nation on the Barnburner channel. Before you head to bed, send us a little like on this video. And once again, we say thank you to the good folks over at Bet365, to the Houston of Calgary, the Derek Newman Group, to the Unicorn, and to the good folks at GMC. One more time, my name Mike Gould, and no KQ. I will not let someone else host a show, but thank you for tuning in on this Thursday night. Flames lose to the Ottawa Senators 4-1, and this has been another presentation of the Afterburner.